Florida International University College Education, a critique of transition from high school to college by Ibis Paneca as a fulfillment of the requirement of the course EDF5481. Research problem. The most important research problem that is identified in this study is the factors affecting students' information literacy as they transition from high school to college. Another question is that what are the basic issues related to the transition from high school? Why are the students not sure of the future when they enter new college? The author of the article has completely justified with the study by adding relevant citations of the several studies. Furthermore, he gave the limitations of the study. Research design and measurement. The purpose of a sessional study is to investigate the relationships. The type of sessional study which was used in this study is correlational research study. Correlation study is complete only when the two or more variables are linked with each other. Once the proper relationship is observed between two variables, then it becomes easy for the research to predict about what's going to happen in the future. The conducted study consists of all those characteristics which define the correlational study. This correlational study aims to find the relationship between two variables, and these variables did not interfere or got involved with the environment. In this research design, there are several threats to the internal validity of the study. Here by threat to the internal validity, we refer to the alternative explanations as why it is important and the relationship was observed between two variables, independent and dependent variables. Morality is considered to be the biggest threat to the internal validity of the research, and it was already exist in the study which researchers aim to remove completely. As I stated above, the duration of this research is based on a long period of 3 years, which made it complex to the achieve of the data on the basis of the 3 years. The researchers state that he tried to keep the samples in large number with keeping the data for the 82% of the first-year students of college. An algorithm is provided to make sure that the loss of data was a random event and it was not happen with the will of the researchers. One more risk to the internal validity of the research that existed in the setting where the study was conducted. Sample came from 3 different schools, 2 public schools and 1 parochial school. It can be argued that the mortality, location, and instrumentation are all possible internal threat to the validity. For my part, this study also lacks some external validity. The result might not be able to be generalized to the entire population because of the characteristics of the examples. Consequently, I concluding that the study lacks population generalizability because the samples does not accurately represent the population. The reason for these conclusions will be discussed further in the next session. Sample. The researcher needed to target the students who were recently done from the school and entered into the college. The target population was the students from the first year of college to the 4-year college. The researcher invited 677 students, which were 4th grade students across the school, to participate in the study. And the sample consisted of 248 students who actually obtained parental consent. This type of sampling method is not a convenient sampling because the sample consisted of those who are available to the study. These 3 characteristics of ethnicity, socioeconomic status, and parent education limit the external validity of the study. Consequently, it may be inappropriate to generalize the finding to the entire population of elementary school students. The researchers identified this problem and suggested that the further studies be conducted to include a more diverse sample. Data collection. Various data collection methods were used in the study to test the 4 variables. Each variable required different method in order to obtain data, and each method had advantages and disadvantages. This information was obtained by use of the rating scales. In the rating scale, the teachers gave numeric values to questions that covered 8 aspects of peer acceptance. Higher scores meant that the students had less peer acceptance. One advantage of this method is that the researchers use a rating scale that correlate with the other measures that assess peer acceptance. The other measure it was correlated with did not use only teachers as evaluators, but also parents and the children themselves. Data analysis. The data were analyzed in several ways in order to come up with several different observations. This cross-sectional correlation enabled the researchers to see the relationship between each of the 4 variables. The researchers then tested the hypothesis by using the longitudinal path analysis. In the path analysis, researchers compute correlation coefficients on the variable and then analyze these coefficients to the theory. Finally, the researchers conducted a multiple group comparison strategy to determine if results were different from boys versus girls. They compared the results to a model that forced the prediction path for the boys and girls to be the same value. Because the results for boys and girls were similar to the model, it was determined that gender was not a play role in the study. Results. Cross-sectional correlation found that there was a significant association between peer relations and academic performance. From the longitudinal multiple regression analysis determined that 2 of the 5 paths were statistically significant and 3 were almost significant. The result from the path analysis confirmed the researchers' hypothesis that the lack of peer acceptance predict poor academic performance with the unstandardized coefficients of -45. I slightly asserted with the finding of the study because of several limitations the study contained. I consider that different methods should have been used to determine the lack of peer acceptance and academic self-concept. A more accurate measure of these 2 variables will increase my confidence in the finding of the study. Implications of findings. The researchers concluded that the lack of peer acceptance leads to lower academic self-concept and internalized symptoms, which ultimately result in decline in academic achievement. Also conclude that relationships among children affect not only their social well-being, but also the emotional and cognitive development. Then it can be determined that the researchers' conclusions were appropriate. Because I do not fully agree with some of the data collection methods used, I cannot completely agree with the conclusion of the study. Perhaps, if more information was provided regarding what the methods entitled, I might be more apt to agree with the conclusions. The ultimate summary of implications from the study was that the students' relationships, namely peer acceptance, should be primarily interest to school, teachers, and parents because of the effects it has on the students academically, emotionally, and socially. As a 6th grade teacher, the findings of the study are extremely significant to me. Every day I encounter a student who has some sort of social problem with a peer. I can also identify certain students in my classroom who I would categorize as lacking peer acceptance. Because I want all my students to be able to develop in a positive manner, I am now more aware of how my students are treating each other and encourage them to accepting of each other. What would I keep? I will continue to obtain data from a number of informants at this study does in order to eliminate possibility of respondent bias. I will keep the children as a judge of their academic self-concept because I do not think this can be determined by an outsider. When determining the students' academic performance, I will continue to use the report cards in reading and math, as I believe that because of the report card grades are determined from a large number of assignments, they are a more accurate representation of the students' performance. When completing data analysis, I will keep the multiple group comparison that tested for gender. I will do this in order to ensure the relationship found were not due to a structural variable of gender. What will I delete? Although I stated that overall the study was done efficiently, there are a few things I will eliminate in order to improve the study. The first thing I will eliminate is the sampling method the researchers choose. I could get a sample that represents the population more accurately in relation to the sampling method. I will eliminate the homogeneity of the sample. I will try to ensure that the sample consisted of students with various ethnicity and socioeconomic status, thereby improving the study external validity. I will also eliminate the use of teachers as the informants of peer acceptance. I will instead have the students rate whether or not they lack of peer acceptance and perhaps even rate the peer acceptance of others. What will I change? One alteration will be to have the students rate themselves on peer acceptance. Another change I will make in this study will be addition of another method to determine the students' internalization symptoms. The use of both reports could help get a complete overall picture of the student's psychological well-being. I will also change the scale to use to determine the student's academic self-concept. As previously stated, the scale forces students to make one or two decisions even if they did not agree with either one. I would prefer to use a scale that allows students to express their neutral opinions. By incorporating these changes, I believe that the study could have an even greater, more accurate impact on the educational community. This is my research. My name is Ibis Paneca. Thank you for watching.